What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 69 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin. What's up, dude?
Hi. It's nice. Episode 69. Nice. There you go. Joke's out of the way. Get it over with now.
Cool. Glad you did it, because I wasn't going to.
I was going to say, I know someone's going to comment down below. I know they're going to do it. Somewhere, some shape or form. Yeah. Shameless YouTube plug. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah. We alluded to this last week.
We kind of did.
You
and I knew what we were talking about, and, no one else did.
Yeah, we alluded to it, and just we have an announcement coming up, for sure, and we never got to it because we ran out of time.
Yeah, Evan messaged us. He's like, so what's this big announcement? He's like,
it's the website. It's the website. No, the website's been up for 4 days, and it's been great. The reactions to everything has been positive so far.
For sure.
But no, the news is we are announcing season 4 of our draft league. And thanks
the big announcement is draft league is coming, but also the website's up, just ignoring that part.
Yeah, the website being up is not as important right now. It's just hey, website's here, cool, you can go look at it. There's not a whole lot on there.
For now. It will obviously come with time, but...
I know Carter is ready to write a bunch of articles and team reports and everything. Say Carter gets to flex... Yeah, you get to flex your writing muscle.
When did I say this?
All the time. Just all the time.
I know, when we were really into Magic still, I wrote 2 or 3 different articles. And I didn't really have anywhere to post them. One of my buddies had his own website for his team that he ran. And so I sent it to him, and he was like, yeah, I'll throw it up on the website for you. And I don't know if he ever did.
But now you have your own website. You can write your own stuff and post it.
I specifically remember him reading it and messaging me the next day. He's like, you need to go get a hold of your English teacher and thank her for teaching you how to actually write. It's compared to some articles I've read, this is actually well written and actually cohesive.
That's good.
I just put my thoughts on paper and made sure it sounded good.
Yeah, exactly.
Writing an article is not that hard.
So, to all those wannabe writers, enthusiasts, and things like that, we are looking for articles, team reports, anything related to VGC. You can submit it to us via the email, reach out to us on our Discord, talk to us anyway. We are unable to compensate you really with any kind of monetary gains, but we could definitely just give you a plug on the website for sure.
On the website, Twitter, all that stuff. Yeah, it is obviously as we grow in time that'll change and our policies will change and everything else, but. Mm-hmm. As of now, we're not getting paid, so we can't pay you. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. We're not getting paid. We do this for free, so we can't pay anybody else. Which, it's okay. But back to this draft league thing. We could thank the Pokemon Company for giving us the idea for our new format.
Oh, for sure. So let's see. I can't remember exactly when they posted about it.
It was a while ago.
But the Pokemon Company has a tournament on...
It was last weekend.
Yep, June 18th to June 20th. But it was... The downside, as most things they run are, it was a singles format.
Yeah.
Super unique format, and instead they made it a singles format.
Yeah. Kind of boring for most of us that play VGC, but it gave us the idea of... What does the draft league format look like where you take all the legendaries away?
So this is, simply put, we stole the fair and square format and took our draft league tier list, took out all the legends, moved some stuff around, and we have what I would consider probably close to the final draft of the tier list ready. You and I worked on it for... I don't know, maybe an hour or so tonight.
Yeah, it's been about an hour. It wasn't hard because we just removed a bunch of legends and kind of just plugged and played things for a little bit, and it's oh, this feels fine here, this feels fine here.
Yeah, that's basically what it was, is we already had the skeleton laid out, so it's just alright, well, this gets way better because Urshifu and Eliki and, remove these many mons and suddenly, just throwing this out here, Conkeldurr is suddenly way better.
Yeah, Conkeldurr moves up a chunk.
When you don't have, like, the best fighting type probably to ever be created in the format anymore, suddenly Conkeldurr, which was really good in series, 1 through 4, it's suddenly really good again.
Yeah.
Who knew that when you removed Urshifu, Conkeldurr became, prominent again?
Like, Conkeldurr became the best fighting type again. Other popular moves up. Lapras went from whatever it was to being an S tier Pokemon because its Gigantamax form is insane. Like,
the other big part of that is the last draft we did, we had the restricted tier, the G-Max tier, and then S through C.
Yeah.
Because we are no longer doing the restricted tier, it felt weird to also just have the
G-Max be
G-Max tier as well.
Yeah.
So instead, the G-Max forms are going to be available to whatever Pokemon have them. So Lapras, without its G-Max form, is a lot worse. So as a result, it went from B up to S because, well, G-Max Lapras is really good.
Yeah.
Same with Colossal. This is another one that, without its G-Max form, it's still fine. But like the reason you play Colossal is for the residual damage of its rocks.
This also bumped up Blastoise. Blastoise is now an S tier because it's just like, you could be a G-Max Blastoise, G-Max Cannonade's still a really good move. So things like that. There's been some small shakeups in the A tier. We added a bunch of Pokemon there. B and C didn't adjust too terribly much.
Minor adjustments, basically.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that moved down was Weezing.
Yeah.
Actually, rethinking through what we did. Because there's no Regigigas.
Yeah.
Weezing, specifically Cantonian Weezing moved down because, well, it's not nearly as good. Neutralizing Gas is still good, but not to the point where you're breaking your own team to be able to do it.
You're playing, I was thinking about it earlier, it's just Archeops is the big one, Defeatus, just turning it off. But that's about
Archeops still dies to a ham sandwich, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Not really worried about it. Sure, put a Focus Sash on it, I had to double into it to KO it, but... Sure, whatever,
Yeah.
Fake Out plus Ice Punch will remove it from the game.
But yeah, we're super excited about this. The draft league would probably be end of end of July, early August for signups, because we want to wait till the LML's done.
Yep, the multi-draft league should be finishing up in the next couple weeks, I believe, is what Evan and those guys who have been running it
have been informing us.
Yeah, that's what they said, is hey, this is going to be finishing up here soon anyway, so we're like, all right, well, this is something we've been wanting to do for a hot minute, and yeah, sure.
So
the other big difference between the last draft league and now is we are stealing their point system from the multi-draft league.
Multi-battle draft league.
Yeah, multi-battle. There we go. I'm like, there's a word I'm missing, and I can't remember what it is. Is we are implementing point systems for the draft. So, as of now, this is the one thing we're not completely sold on, but we do know that it is going to be a point-based system. You're still going to draft 10 Pokemon based on your tiers. Mm-hmm. You have to have 10 Pokemon. You can't say, all right, I'm going to load up on 6 of the top tiers, and those are the 6 I'm going to bring every week. That's not how this works.
I don't know if we want to limit it to 10 mons max. There could be people that draft multiple C tiers and whatnot, and that's where it'd kind of just be you could probably draft up to a certain number if you have leftover points and things like that, but they're all going to be C tiers for the most part. We haven't talked that far of it out.
Personally, I think having exactly 10 mons on every team just makes the most sense. Mm-hmm. Just because it keeps everything nice and uniform, and it makes the spreadsheets look better too.
Oh yeah, because then there's not like
So-
12 columns and 10 columns, and yeah.
Yeah, you don't have ones that have 10 and others that have 8, and now some that have 12, and just keeps everything nice, neat, and organized. So, what else we got, man? What do you actually want to talk about here?
I figured we could kind of go over our tier list a little bit, talk about things that moved, things that we think are going to get better, things that get worse. Thankfully, I was able to get it all organized for the most part, and it's kind of in alphabetical order. Some parts aren't, but it's fine.
Mostly, I think
It's mostly alphabetical. Like all of our S tiers, like our S tiers stacked too. Like,
dude,
this is
it
crazy.
really is. It really is. First one that I kind of want to talk about is Braviary going from B to S tier.
That's a big one.
This is kind of on the same vein of Conkeldurr as well. I feel like pairing these two together really makes a lot of sense when talking about them. Both of them really fell out of favor when other Mons were introduced into the format. Specifically with Braviary, one of the big ones was Regieleki. The fact that it just can immediately apply so much pressure to a Braviary just means that it basically was completely invalidated overnight. Especially once people started actually playing with an offensive Eleki set, and things realized very quickly that even with Assault Vest and everything else, that these sets that they had ran, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So the combination of like pretty decent bulk, Dynamax, you have Defiant, and like, you know, if you want to go, I want to say it was in like Series 4 or Series 5, there was a Choice Scarf Tailwind set that then also Dynamaxed. Do you remember that?
I remember seeing that, yeah. It was
like, just gonna go turbo fast to make sure you get your Tailwind up first. If you, like, because again, Braviary was moderately popular at the time. It's like, well, you don't have priority Tailwind, so just getting yours up before your opponents do, then remove their threat so that you are in full control of the speed tiers was just really interesting, to be 100% honest.
Yeah. Also, just notably, like, Tornadus and like Thundurus, these other flying types, kind of push Braviary out of the format as well. Tornadus being the big one because Tornadus has Prankster Tailwind. It's like, what's better than being the fastest thing and setting up Tailwind while being able to be the fastest thing and set it up at +1 priority? So, and Braviary jumps up a lot because of the legends just being gone.
In that same vein, the introduction of Talonflame also did that to an extent with priority Tailwind. The big thing about Talonflame, though, is you don't always have your
priority.
Your priority, yeah, thank you. So, you know, you're able to fake out into it, or just even like Talonflame's run Brave Burden's like, all right, cool, your priority's now gone. Sure, you're obviously very fast, but you're also extremely frail. Which is something that Braviary does much better.
Also, just having Defiant. Defiant's important. Defiant's an important part of Braviary's like overall suite of just like things it does really well. Let's see here. Charizard moved up from A to S, just because it just gets better in a non-restricted format. Colossal mentioned moved up. Conkeldurr we mentioned moved up a lot. Excadrill moved up into the S tier just because Mold Breaker is going to be better now.
Mold Breaker, obviously Sand Rush and Sand Force are also both good abilities when paired with your Sand Setters of Tyranitar, Gigalith, Hippowdon. Notably, all three of those stayed in their same tiers that they were before. Tyranitar in S, and then the other two are both in A. So not a huge difference there, but the removal of a lot of the higher power Mons, you know, specifically like all the restrictives are gone. So removing all of them plus removing just the regular legendaries means that Excadrill being absurdly fast and extremely offensive probably means it's a very good early top tier pick.
Yeah. Especially like there's no Landers to worry about anymore. Like you're going to be able to hit most Pokemon. There's not a lot of switch ins that you have to actually like fear as an Excadrill anymore. So it could just be its own thing without even Sand having to be on the team anywhere.
We saw that a ton in early 2020 where Excadrill was just slapped on every team and it's like, all right, this has Mold Breaker, I'm gonna punch you.
Like I have Mold Breaker, or you could be the cheeky one and I have Sandrush and I just like happen to have Scarf as well, so I outspeed your Excadrill and blow it up, kind of situation.
I don't have Sand, but you provided it for me. Thanks.
Yeah, like thanks. What else moved up? Garchomp moved up from A to S. That's kind of an obvious pick there.
I also think that's like a difference from Series 7 to Series 9 as well. The fact that Garchomp has grown in popularity in VGC as a whole between those two series means that I think we kind of undervalued it in Series 7, and as a result, when we actually transitioned and started making the original list, I don't want to say we undervalued it there, but I think there was just so much more offensive threats available that Garchomp just kind of fell to A tier.
Yeah. Hatterene moved up a good chunk because the G-Max power of a Hatterene is really insane.
Basically, all the good G-Maxes moved up.
Yeah, for the most part. They all kind of just shifted up one tier from where they originally were. Lapras moved up to S tier. Porygon Z we pushed up into S tier as well, just because it's a very powerful threat on its own. This way you can't just say use your S tier on Clefairy or Togekiss and then pick up Porygon Z in A tier and just have this super powerful duo for only 100 whatever how many points that S and A end up being.
And we're hopefully going to be able to have it where you can have two S tiers, but the rest of your team is as a result going to not say struggle, but you are going to have to.
You're going to have less A's and B's than what
you're definitely going to have a plan for your lower tier bonds to make your S tiers really shine.
Yeah.
And like Clefairy, Friend Guard is absolutely insane. And then you provide Friend Guard plus redirection. You also have abilities to you have access to Sing. Granted, not very accurate, but you have, let's see, what else does Clefairy have? Immense bulk thanks to Eviolite. Just everything that Clefairy has ever done in VGC, it does here as well.
Yeah. What else did we move up? Rhyperior. I made the comment earlier, like Rhyperior is just Regirock, but not legendary.
And that's honestly, like I was telling you then, it's just like something I really hadn't thought about is why we don't see Rhyperior anymore in VGC. And it's like, we have Regirock, who's immune to Intimidate. Also just has like immense bulk on it as well. Doesn't have multiple 4x weaknesses. Like, there's a lot that works in Regirock's favor over Rhyperior. And again, it's just one of those mons that has been pushed out due to power creep in the current formats.
What else did we move up? Rotom Wash we moved into S tier. It kind of felt fine because like Rotom H was already in S, so Rotom Wash is kind of up there with it in that same power level.
Yeah, honestly, looking at this a little bit, like I think water types as a whole were pretty low in our initial draft, but like looking at it now, we moved actually up quite a few water types into S tier, like Blastoise, Lapras, obviously Rotom Wash since we're talking about it. What else did we move
a lot of the movement after that is kind of went from B into A. We pulled a lot of water types up. We pulled Dracovish out of S and into A just because it's not as good.
I'm hoping that's not an oversight and people don't just I would love to be proven wrong that Dracovish is too good in A tier. Because the thought process is at S, it feels like it's too low value, but in A, it's way too high value.
Yeah, and we'll come across a couple of those in A tier again, because we had some reservations where we could argue for S or A or B. So we'll get to those other Pokemon when we get to them. Another one we moved, Umbreon.
Yep,
Umbreon's the other one, right? That was the other one?
The one that I feel very confident in saying, even in S tier, this is really, really good, and people are still going to undervalue it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of the times when you think of S tier, it's like, oh, I need to draft my Dynamax targets here. I want damage. I want things that are going to take over games. Well, Umbreon still takes over the game without having to be a Dynamax like threat. So it's kind of in the same vein of Clefairy. It's just like it's a very good support Pokemon. It has access to things like Snarl, Yawn, Baby Doll Eyes. Overall, it just feels like it was undervalued because wasn't it an A, and then we moved it up to S. Or was it
I think it might have been in B. So I would have to go back and look, but it might have been in B.
This is another one of those lower tiers that we underrated going into Series 8 and just kind of put lower on the thing because like no one plays Umbreon. We don't see it enough. We don't know what it does. And
at the time.
Now we've seen it. And
now it took the women's tour in Series 8 by storm. And from there, it just kind of grew in popularity, and it was basically brought to people's attention of how good it could be. And as a result, its popularity shot up immensely, but also as a result, the player base understood what it can and will do against you.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's still not enough. That's the great part.
The fact that Urshifu is removed from the format means that, like, Umbreon is really good.
Like,
you're
you have
going
to
be able
Conkeldurr.
to take hits all day.
Like, Conkeldurr is like the one thing that can kind of answer it.
Conkeldurr, Scissor's another one that I think is like
decently positioned.
It lines up okay against it.
Choice Band Superpower still probably does a ton to it.
Yeah, Superpower. Does it get any Technician Bug move that's actually like worth a damn?
U-turn's too much now. U-turn's 80, right?
Yep. I had Showdown open. Where'd it go? There it is.
X-Scissors 80. I don't think there's any bug type move it gets that actually Technician does anything for it anymore. Oh.
I mean, it's 60. I wish Bug Bite
is that one actually in the game? I don't know if Bug Bite's in the game. Is it?
It should be.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure Grubbin learns it. Or what's the... I'm pretty sure Grubbin learns it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Skitter Smack is just outside of there. It's at 70. Does Scizor learn Skitter Smack? It does not. That's unfortunate.
It does not.
That's unfortunate. Plus, Priority Bullet Punch is still really good.
Yeah. Let's see here. We have a bunch of A's that we had moved around. We mentioned Dracovish and Dracozolt both being in A tier. Delmise moved up from B to A because it's a better Trick Room like sweeper now that a lot of the big Pokemon are gone.
Bronzong in that same vein. Extremely bulky, can be able, it has two different abilities which give it multiple type resistance / immunities with Levitate and Heat Proof. Mm-hmm. Plus, like, you just slap on like a Colbert Berry on this thing or leftovers and it just never dies.
Yep. What I want to talk about here for a minute is Butterfree. Butterfree is something that we didn't see so much since like Series 3 because like Venusaur does a better job of being a sleep powder user and things like that. Butterfree in draft leagues always just like feel underrated to me. It's undervalued and it's always really powerful every time we see it.
Like thinking about this a little more, you know what this format really reminds me of? It's literally just an updated like base Sword and Shield game. Like
for the most part, yeah.
Like actually thinking about it, because like obviously in Isle of Armor we added Urshifu, but Urshifu was like the only legendary legal, right?
Yeah, it was the only legend that was like actually like around.
We added those and we added the Justice Trio at the same time.
Justice Trio got added in at Series 5, yes.
So like you had 4 legends introduced, and that was all that was viable in the game at the point. And, like, not only viable, but actually available.
And the format kind of warped to that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Urshifu, there was a reason Urshifu might have been needed to be banned in Series 6. Like,
yeah.
It was in usage stats too high, but according to Pokemon, it wasn't because they pulled their data before that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. That's neither here nor there at this point. So really, it's just like, take the Isle of Armor dex and then add in all of the non-legendary Pokemon from the Crown Tundra, which just really does add in that many more Mons and makes that many more Mons viable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Metagross was not introduced until Isle of Armor. No, it was introduced in Crown Tundra.
Crown Tundra.
But, like, it's really good. And now you remove one of its biggest checks in the format of Dark Urshifu being able to Sucker Punch it outside of Dynamax, and you remove Spectre to be able to get a burn on it. And, like, you remove all these threats that threaten Metagross because it was faster than it, and suddenly Metagross looks really appealing.
Yeah. Garchomp, another one of those Pokemon introduced to the Crown Tundra, just happens to get really, really good when there's not a giant ice horse sitting across from you on the other side of the field.
What a concept. So instead of a giant ice horse, what about a giant ice monkey?
Darmanitan. Didn't we move Darmanitan up?
Yeah, it went from B to A. And at one point, I think I suggested moving it to S, and you're like, nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, like, Darmanitan does one thing, and it does one thing really well. It just punches things. It just hits things really hard. It
does punch things and then dies.
Yeah. Like, you pick up it trades a KO. You pick up a KO, and then it dies.
And, like, honestly, that's pretty accurate for, like, what Darmanitan actually does. It does exactly... If it can pick up 2 KOs, it has exceeded expectations.
Oh, yeah. If it picks up 2 KOs, it's done its job and then some. I'm waiting for the Zen mode Darmanitan Gs to come out and just, like, start blowing people up. It's going to be hilarious.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I forgot Zen mode was even available on this thing.
I mean, its ability is pretty much just a choice band. So it's just like, why not just double choice band it and just punch things? We moved Chansey up into A.
Kinda as, like, a deterrent to remove Chansey Shuckle as a thing, but, like, in reality, it's still available, and if Chansey gets drafted, good luck. Have fun.
Yeah. The reason
you're gonna learn very quickly how to play against it.
Yeah, like, we put it up in there just, like, if you want to draft this thing, you can, but you're dedicating an A slot to it. Like, you're not going to get away with drafting it in B tier and then drafting a 10-point Shuckle kind of situation.
I will tell you for free, there's a lot of really good answers to Chansey. Perish Song is one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Perish Song is absurdly good against it.
Just make sure the Shuckle's gone.
Why?
Because when you faint, if you don't... Slowest.
Oh, okay. Now I'm following you.
Shuckle
I was gonna say, I'm
slowest.
Like, if it's those two versus your 4 because you remove their front 2, then you just win.
That's if that happens, yeah.
True.
If they don't get any KOs off of you first.
True. Which, if that's the case, they still have their Dynamax available, hopefully, and they can smack you around. But
yeah,
it'll be all right. Or you do it while Trick Room is still up, and then Shuckle goes down first.
Exactly. So... That's what I was going to say. It's like you just have Trick Room and you're fine. Comfey got moved. Was Comfey already in A, or did we move it up to A?
It was in A, I believe. I advocated to push it to S.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about, was moving into S.
And I think we had the same argument when we first made the tier list of Comfey being in S, just because you had things like Galarian Moltres and Yveltal and Palkia and all these other really powerful dragon Pokemon that really like having a weakness policy slapped and triggered on them. And you can obviously still do that. You have access to Garchomp, you have access to Dragonite and Goodra and Lapras, and so even like to a lesser extent, you could trigger a policy on like Rhyperior. There's 100 different things that Comfey can trigger a policy on, and honestly,
Wash.
Comfey is really good, man. As
might
you and I both know,
yeah.
It's really, really good.
The thing is, it's like you have to draft around it to where it actually gets to do that stuff, because otherwise it doesn't do a whole lot.
I mean, honestly, yeah, like if like you can do floral healing things, but like the big thing that Comfey is able to do is just have priority, to trigger a weakness policy, and then play mind games with ally switch and protect and trick room and everything else. And for some reason, it's absurdly bulky for a lay of flowers.
Yeah, it's I
think I comment on that every time we talk about Comfey.
Crobat actually might be decent in Draft League now that there's like not a whole bunch of just like random powerful Pokemon to push it out of the format, because it still has access to Tailwind and Inner Focus, so you can't fake it out and you get to set up Tailwind still. So your opponent has to double into Crobat and hope they outspeed it still. Dragonite stayed in A tier. It's not as powerful as like say Garchomp and Dragapult in my opinion, just because it's just like in that weird speed tier still.
That's the one thing that like Dragonite has against it is its middling speed tier. I wouldn't say mediocre, but I would say less than stellar. Like Garchomp 80 is not terrible.
Like Garchomp outspeeds you by a country mile. Dragapult can just blow you up still. Lapras is going to be a popular Pokemon, like going to be a popular draft Pokemon. Blastoise has Ice type moves. Metagross usually can carry Ice Punch. Porygon Z can learn Ice Beam. Porygon 2 can learn Ice Beam.
Rotom Frost one-shots you.
Rhyperior can almost blow you up a lot of the time with Ice Punch or Rock Fall. So it's just
I'd be very surprised if a Rock Fall doesn't do astronomical amounts of damage, especially because as Rhyperior, you're probably going to get a trigger on your weakness policy.
Oh, for sure. So that's kind of why Dragonite kind of stayed at A while Garchomp kind of moved up. It's just not as powerful as other things.
Let's see. Other things that we moved around. Durant and Escavalier went from B to A. Honestly, I think both of those are just really good mons, and I think can actually really excel in this format now. Durant is one of those that, like, if you slap it in S, I don't think it does enough, but in A, it might be, like, it might just be, like, the most underrated, it might just be your draft league champion if you take it.
Yeah. What else? Oh, did we just skip over Durant?
That's literally what we were just talking about.
I was messing with my webcam. My webcam turned off for half a second. Sorry,
everyone. You're good. Yeah, Durant and Escavalier I kind of slapped together. Let's see. Gyarados stayed the same. Hydreigon, Hitmontop stayed. I advocated to move Kingdra, and you're like, nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, Kingdra, Rain doesn't do as much without, like, Kyogre running around.
The big thing is you have Politoed and Pelipper both in A as well, so, like, it's not easy to immediately pick them up. Like, it is going to be a moderately point intensive. But, like, honestly, your weather setters are probably more important just because Swift Swim abusers are a dime a dozen.
Like, Kingdra is special because it's not weak to electric and grass. Like, yep.
As the fact that it doesn't double up on weaknesses to pair with your setter is the big thing.
Like, that's why it's in A over, say, like, a Ludicolo.
But that's why you just get access to Prankster Rain Dance. Actually, are there any mons that have Prankster Rain Dance now?
I think Sableye might be the only one. And Meowstic Male.
Prankster Rain Dance. Klefki, Liepard, Meowstic, Sableye, Purloin, and Riolu.
Oh, that's a Pokemon we skipped over moving up, was Riolu, but we haven't got that far yet.
How can we skip over it if we haven't got that far?
Because we probably would have forgot about it. I'm going to be honest, we probably would have forgot about it.
I think Riolu was originally in C. B?
B. It was originally in B. It gets better because Hatterene is a monster, and most Trick Room setters are just really powerful in Draft League a lot of the time.
We have obviously Hatterene is like the big one. You also have Prankster Coaching, which can pair very well with like Excadrill or Tyranitar. You also have like Prankster's just really good. In case you didn't know this,
yeah.
I'm actually curious about like Riolu's move set. Oh, Riolu. There we go. Good lord, if I could learn to type today, it'd be great. So,
yeah,
like, quick things that you have access to, like, Prankster Substitute's cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you can see on, like, Whimsicott from time to time as well.
Yep.
Coaching, you have access to Confide, which is just, like, priority snarl, kinda.
That's kind of cool.
According to Showdown, yeah, Follow Me, but that was an event-only move, correct?
Yes, it does not get Follow Me.
Okay. You have Sunny Day, you have Rain Dance, you have Swagger, so you can do Mudsdale things.
That's kind of cool.
You also don't have access to Toxic anymore, right? Because it's not a TM.
Nope, that's gone.
It's not a TM or a TR, so like all the mons that have Toxic actually don't.
Yeah, everything that normally that used to kind of learn Toxic just doesn't anymore.
I wonder what kind of psych up abuse you can do.
That'd be kind of cool.
Because like honestly, you have a lot of different like attacks to boost your own stats. You have Nasty Plot, you have Agility, you have Iron Defense, you have Swords Dance. Like, Riolu gets to boost his own stats a lot, but unfortunately it's a Riolu, so, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, like, looking at, like, just Psych Up users, see if there's anything cool you can do there. See. Magnazone? Evidently?
That's interesting.
So you could, like, Nasty Plot, hope to live the double up, and then get a Psych Up off?
Goodness.
That seems really medium.
Yeah. Speaking of Magnazone moved up from B to A just because Landorus is gone.
Landorus is gone, Urshifu is gone, all the scary restricted fire types, Ho-Oh and Reshiram, and all those are all gone. Groudon was another big threat.
Mm-hmm. Which you could expect to live a lot of the fire type attacks. It's the ground Pokemon that you were super duper scared of.
The big 4 times weaknesses that are the problem.
What else did we move? Oh, Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is another one we moved up from B to A. Bulky Tailwind Setter.
Bulky Tailwind that is no longer threatened by Eliki.
Yeah, Eliki not being in the format is huge for Mandibuzz.
Yep. Also, Feeny is gone too, so you don't actually. What kind of fairy mons are actually left?
Togekiss,
Clefable,
Comfey,
Azumarill, Grimmsnarl, Hatterene, Alola Ninetales, Primarina, Mimikyu. Mimikyu's actually a really good threat now, I think.
That's why Mimikyu's in A now. Mimikyu was already in A.
We didn't move Sylveon, right? Yeah, Mimikyu was, I believe, already in.
Yeah, we didn't move Sylveon either, so they were already in A.
So, your fairy types are a little less common, just because, obviously you lost the 4 Tapus. You lost Xerneas. Are those the only fairy type legends? Because granted, you only have. Oh, and then Zacian as well.
Yeah. Which, thank God for that. We'll talk about GS Cup probably as we end out the day today, because I have a lot to say about GS Cup. Yeah, we'll
probably slap that on the end. Probably slap that on the end.
looking through other changes, Omastar's still an A, which is fine. Riunculus, and that's a Pokemon you haven't heard or seen from him in a while, is Riunculus.
I want it to be good, and unfortunately it just hasn't been for quite a while.
Scrafter we moved up from B to A because it's Intimidate, and it's less fairy types, mean you don't just get blown up all the time anymore.
Going back to Reuniclus for a second, Today I learned it gets Regenerator.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I always just use Magic Guard.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you just slap a Life Orb on this thing, and then you just get to do extra damage. I didn't know this thing had Regenerator.
You didn't know it actually did anything else?
No, it sets its own Trick Room and then Dynamaxes and punches things.
What else did we move? Serena. We moved Serena up from B to A because its Queenly Majesty ability is actually really good in this format.
Both of its abilities are actually really good as the resident Serena expert in Draft League.
The Serena Stan has arrived.
Like, Queenly Majesty is insane. The number of times that it just completely invalidates so many different moves.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Fake Out's the big one. You can't, so I'm thinking, if they have priority to trigger their policy, right?
Yes.
And you have Queenly Majesty plus Follow Me, does it just negate the attack?
If they use a +1 priority, then yes. Because it redirects it into Togekiss, and Togekiss can't be targeted by priority moves. Well, can't be affected
by... That's really cool.
The one that gets around this is
cool.
Comfey. Comfey is the only one that gets around this.
Yep. Which, obviously, Comfey is annoying, but you can't be hit by Comfey, so that's cool.
Yeah. As long as
and then Sweet Veil's also just really cool.
Yeah.
Sweet Veil's also just a really cool ability because, as some people know, it was season 1, I believe, right? Yeah, season 1, I drafted Ninetales Vileplume and just put people to sleep on turn 1. It was great.
Yep.
It was so good. And then I ran into Xeno and died. I died to a blue flare using Metronome Clefairy.
Yep. Got the good rolls that day.
Yeah, as no one else had really prepped for mono sleep.team, and then Xeno came in and actually did good prep work, and it's all right, here's Lum, here's Cherry, here's Safeguard, and just please stop.
Please
I wanted
quit.
to have fun today.
You want to talk about why Weezing Galar didn't move from A tier? Or did we swap them? Was Weezing Galar B, and then we moved up to A, and then put Weezing K?
Yep, we swapped them. And the big reason, Neutralizing Gas is an okay ability, especially if you're able to be fine not having your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there are Mons that just excel with not having theirs. The main one being Archeops, which I think we've already talked about. But things like Magnezone having Sturdy, that's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
So if you build your team appropriately and draft your Mons in a way, having it where you don't have abilities is not a big deal, but turning off your opponent's abilities is. So the fact that Gigas is no longer in the format definitely makes Weezing a little worse. But the reason that Galarian Weezing is still higher is it's the only Misty Terrain setter now.
Yeah.
Off of its ability. It's the only
one with Misty Surge.
Yeah. I was gonna say Misty Pulse, and I'm I know that's not right. I can't ever remember what they're called, man. I just know it sets terrain.
The Surges. Which I think all of our terrain setters except for Pincurchin are an A or higher now.
Which, it's a Pincurchin, so, I'm not really worried about it.
Exactly.
That's not true. Thwacky and Grookey are lower.
Meh. We all know Rillaboom and Thwacky are, the only two you want to pick out of those. But, in the same vein, Rillaboom's the one you want. as someone who does thwacky things constantly in Draft League, you want the Rillaboom.
Are both Ndidis in S?
Ndidi female is an S, and Ndidi male is an A.
So yeah, all the good terrain setters are in A+.
Yep.
Minus Thwacky, who probably should be S tier, but we'll give you all that one.
Gotta leave some stuff in the lower tiers.
It's a not fully evolved Mon. Sure, it can carry an Eviolite, and as you know, you have been terrorized by Thwacky in Draft League before.
So I've been terrorized by it, and I've been terrorizing people with it. It's great.
Was that season 3? That was season 2, right? Where you got beat up by, was it Xeno or Evan with Thwacky?
The one I got beat up by was Rillaboom. I got beat up by Rillaboom. It was Leech Seed Substitute Rillaboom, and that was Xeno.
Who played Thwacky then? Was it me who lost to Thwacky?
Might have been you who lost to Thwacky.
I think it was Evan. And I lost to Thwacky, and I was talking to him afterwards. He's like, yeah, it's literally the set we used against Carl. It's like, well, that's rude.
Yeah, it's literally that, except it was on Thwacky and not Rillaboom.
Yep. So it had Eviolite or Leftovers, one of the two, and it's just like, yeah, this is annoying. Please stop.
Looking over the B tier, is there anything crazy you want to point out and talk about?
We moved Morgrim to B.
Yeah, we put Morgrim in. Morgrim was in C technically as a not fully evolved Pokemon.
And it did, like, honestly very, very well for itself. And I think with Grimmsnarl in S, having access to Morgrim in B is probably still fine. I know Swede definitely used it a lot in Draft League last season, so I'm not going to say it's Swede's fault, but he's the one whose matches I watched the most with it, so it's clearly Swede's fault why it got moved
it's
up.
Clearly Swede's fault. Blame Swede. What else did we move up? We moved Vileplume up. Vileplume was in C, and it's now in B because Venusaur and Torkoal, I think, are both in S, and so drafting them together is going to be hard. Lilligant's in A, and it's not as good, but it's still a thing. Vileplume fits a
Lilligant
different...
is faster than Vileplume. I played a sweet Assault Vest Vileplume set in one match, and then it promptly came in and died.
Big uff.
Like, alright, cool, this is gonna be my Dynamax threat, it's gonna be my sweeper, and then it got one shot on the switch in. It's like, okay.
Womp, womp. What else did we move around?
Did we move Bisharp down? Or
Bisharp
did we
was
leave it where
already
it was?
in B. Yeah, it was in B to begin with. Which I think Bisharp should honestly be an A. That's my opinion, but
I honestly could take it or leave it.
Like,
I think
it's one of those
where
things where it's just like Bisharp in A is like an okay pick in comparison to the things around it, but Bisharp in B is a really good pick. It's kind of like the Durant thing. Like Durant would be an okay S, but in A, Durant's actually really good.
I think we talked about moving Cradily around, but we ended up leaving it where it is.
Cradilly's really good at just being a villain, like for typing. Like, I need grass or I need this, and it just happens to be Cradilly's really good. It's not like Storm Drain's still good, like you can do stuff with it, but Cradilly is not the Pokemon you want to be building your whole team around kind of situation. I know you talked about Aegislash moving around, and just like I shot that down immediately. As the person who loves Aegislash to death, it's just not that good. I
want it to be good.
I want it to be great, yeah. But when they nerfed King's Shield and whatnot, it's just like Aegislash just doesn't do anything now. Like, you can do stuff with it, but you're not going to be happy like you would with like old Aegislash would be.
Yep.
What else is on here that's kind of cool to talk about? Haxorus is in B still. I don't know if that's okay or not. I think it's fine.
It's probably fine.
We left.
Aaron is currently typing up more notes for us over here
Okay.
as we're reading this. I don't know if you saw it.
I haven't looked at him yet. No. Crocodile. Crocodile was one I wanted to move up, but we didn't because we wanted to leave intimidates across the tiers for people.
Yep, didn't want to stack all of the like good intimidators up top in the upper tiers. Like Crocodile, it has a lot of things working for it. It has a lot of things working against it as well. In that same vein, Scrafty as well. Like there's a lot that I really like about Scrafty. There's also a lot I really dislike about Scrafty. Notably like its speed tier and the amount of bulk it has, but it's fine.
Yep.
Every Pokemon has its strengths and weaknesses, and like a good ability does not make up for poor stats.
Yep, Luxray is another one where it's just like it's a good Intimidator, but that's about all it's really good for anymore. Like you can do certain things
honestly,
with it.
Luxray is really cool. Luxray is really cool. I know it's one that Aaron has been playing with here lately, and it's just like, slap a scarf on it, snarl some people, volt switch out if you need to, just cycle back in your Intimidates. It's really cool. It's definitely, I think, appropriately costed at B tier.
Mm-hmm. We moved Tangrowth up from whatever tier it was into B tier as well.
Yeah, it went from C up to
B.
Up to B, just because that was one that we debated a lot on, was Tangela versus Tangrowth in B tier. And I think in this format, having both in B is probably just fine.
Yeah, you want them kind of both in the same vein. It's just like Rage Powder Redirection's still going to be a powerful tool.
Chlorophyll Sleep Powder, again, like if that is something you want to do. I believe we also moved Kanto Ninetales up to A. I believe. Just because, like, obviously you remove Groudon, so, like, your Sunsetters become a little better. Torkoal was already an S, and I believe, as a result, we moved up Ninetales up to A.
Yes. Ninetales Cantonian is an A, yep.
Yep, okay, cool. And obviously you have Prankster Sunny Day, which is a little more common than Prankster Rain Dance, if I remember correctly.
Maybe?
I think the only mon that gets access to Sunny Day that doesn't get Rain Dance is Whimsicott.
I think so. Is that right?
That looks right. If I'm looking at it correctly, yeah. Because Klefki gets both.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Meowstic gets both. Sableye gets both. Liepard. So you have Thundurus and Tornadus, which get Rain Dance, but they're not legal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think so. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
So that's a knock against Whimsicott, is it can't set rain for your team.
Which kind of makes sense,
so
but yeah.
You should definitely not draft Whimsicott.
Yeah, definitely leave Whimsicott on the table for Carter to pick up later.
Nah, I probably won't draft it. If you want me to be 100% honest, probably not. I think there is a little better value for less points in a lower tier.
Yep, for sure.
Which I know you and I have talked about, and I'm not giving away all my secrets.
Yep. Looking through the rest of these, we talked about moving Drifblim, but we didn't.
Yeah, the big thing about Drifblim was the lack of consistent terrain setters means that Drifblim gets a little worse with specifically Unburden. And I think that's Unburden as a whole. Being able to trigger your Unburden becomes much more difficult, not having consistent terrain. Like, you can have Rillaboom plus Sceptile. I would not recommend it, but you could do that. Like, Hawlucha is another one that kind of is interesting, being able to have access to Unburden, but, like, what are you pairing it with?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like, Rillaboom Hawlucha is probably pretty good, if you want me to be 100% honest. Thwacky Hawlucha, it actually sounds pretty gross.
Like, if you get a cheap Thwacky and you get Hawlucha in and it just takes over a game. That seems kind of gross.
Hawlucha is in B tier, so like that's really cheap points for a lot of support.
And that's kind of
like,
what we're after, though. Like, is with this draft league, is it's like you want cheap things and you want expensive things. So,
like, Hawlucha can also be a very offensive threat. Like its attack stat is pretty decent if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And 92, not terrible. The big thing is like with Unburden, you can outspeed things in Tailwind, which is just absurd.
Oh yeah.
You know, Halucha gets Mold Breaker?
Yep.
I did not. I've only ever used it as Unburden.
So many things today, Carter. So many things.
Draft League is great, man. You get to do all these things that you would never think of otherwise.
There's so many comments in this site over here.
Yeah, they've grown. They have definitely grown now. And it'll be fine.
We'll get to those in a minute.
Yeah, this is not a solidified tier list yet, but there's a lot of things that I feel confident with where they are versus where they're going to end up being. And that's really what we're talking about currently.
Yep. Okay. I think that kind of wraps up our Draft League talk. What else do you want to talk about this week?
We've been going for
about an hour.
50-ish minutes.
Yeah. Oh. So, I know I talked about this the other day. GS Cup gets on my nerves. Everybody's wanting to swap to it. I don't understand why. We still got a month at Series 9, I get that, but like GS Cup seems miserable right now.
My big thing, playing exactly 0 games of the format, it feels, on paper, it looks very skewed. The big thing that balanced, in my opinion, that balanced Series 9 was the fact that your Dynamax kind of was treated as a second restricted in a way. Mm-hmm. And that's basically how we played our last Draft League, if you want to make that comparison and like tying everything in, was your Gmax Mon was basically a second restricted.
Yeah.
Depending on like what it was, if you have like Colossal or Lapras or Charizard or Venusaur, you know, these big Dynamax threats that put on a ton of pressure against your opponent, it makes sense to count it as a second restricted. But in that vein, like, my big thing is when you're able to not only have multiple restricteds, but also able to Dynamax one of them, it makes it where I feel like the power level of the format is going to invalidate a lot of Mons.
Yeah. I know when I started talking about it, it's like the teams I expect to see are like 2 restricteds plus Regieleki, because Regielecki's really powerful and it's the fastest thing in the format. Speed, control, damage, all in one Pokemon. Redirection to protect one of your restricteds that normally can't protect itself. Things like Zacian or Kyogre. Really appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like 3rd Pokemon that can Dynamax that Dynamaxes a lot. Things like Landorus is a really good option. Intimidate, like, plus being immune to ground types is also a good switch in for your Zacian and things like that. And then your 4th Pokemon is usually another support Pokemon, something like Grimmsnarl, or something that can set Trick Room if you're slower, things like that. It's just like, it feels like the format has already been solved in Series 8, and GS Cup is just like, okay, now you just swap whatever you were Dynamaxing or your Gigantamax Pokemon, like Lapdog is now Fish Dog because it's Kyogre and Zacian instead of
Carl,
Lapras.
it's actually pronounced Swordfish.
I don't care.
But like
Cali Shadow and Yveltal seems like a really powerful combo too.
It's like another one, just like talking about it, is like, all right, you already have Groudon Venusaur as like a really good duo. And like you were playing Charizard there as well, because like then you basically have no, like, the fact that you're not doubling up on a fire type with your Sunsetter plus Charizard makes that more appealing. And now you get to slap on Zacian there as well, because why not?
Like, I know,
obviously,
Palkia and Zacian won Joe UX9's event,
yep.
And I saw that a lot. Evan even played it. I watched most of Evan's run that day, and it seemed really, really powerful, in the same vein that like Swordfish would be powerful.
Were you was it doing like swords, was it doing like weakness policy Palkia things, or
If I remember
Was it
correctly,
like
Evans was Life Orb. I can't remember off the top of my head. That was a couple days ago
I
now.
could see Life Orb. That was going to be my second question if it wasn't weakness policy. It's like, we talked about Comfade. That's a pretty easy way to trigger a policy on a lot of these mons. So being able to go +2 while also Dynamaxing, doubling your health pool, and basically taking no damage because it's Comfey, because you're also absurdly bulky, just means that you can just smack things around. So I don't know. On paper, I'm not sure how to feel about the format. Obviously, I have not played it, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
And until it actually becomes a dedicated format by the Pokemon Company, I'm probably not going to touch it.
I know I talked about, especially like with the mod crew and you, about making some of the LRL events in July GS Cup, just because I know people are looking for things to, like, different things to play, because Series 9 is pretty much, for the most part, been burned out of everybody's, like, play pool for now. That's why everyone's playing these GS Cup events. No one wants to play Series 9 anymore. I know this past Rumble we had was a fairly low turnout compared to other Rumbles we've had, just because Series 9's kind of just run its course. Everyone's kind of sick of it now. So maybe looking at doing a couple GS Cup events, maybe specifically the free ones, like do the Rumbles as GS events, just so people can change it up every once in a while and they're not playing all Series 9 for the next month. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I would be interested in hearing what people think and their feedback of the format for those who have actually played it. I know there's quite a few people on the server who have been working on it and playtesting the format and everything else, and I'd be interested in hearing their thoughts. But as of now, I just don't know. I don't feel inclined to try it out until it's an actual thing.
That being said, we started the day with a shameless plug. We're ending the day with a shameless plug. Comment down below if you'd like to see GS Cup events in the near future for July, things like that. We only have 4 events in July because we had been doing 5, sure. So it's just like 2 events out of the 4 being GS Cup, especially if they're the free ones. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I would be interested in hearing what people say. It would also give us a little bit of data to actually talk about and be able to decipher what feels good and bad in the format and what feels absolutely absurd and probably should not exist.
So that being said, I think GS Cup's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be miserable to play in. Like, everyone's playing it right now because it's the new exciting thing, but I feel like a month of it and everyone's just gonna be sick of it again. Because everyone's gonna be sick of seeing Zacian.
I could definitely see that. I think at this point right now, I am not excited for it if that is what Series 10 is going to be. Obviously, I'm going to continue playing. Obviously, I'm going to continue to make content and everything else related to the game. But it feels... I don't know. I don't feel overly excited about it right now. Just because it just feels... It feels like it just invalidates too many things.
Like, adding the restricteds back in, doing like another Series 8, I don't hate that, because that format was actually enjoyable and fun. Like, yeah, Zacian was very popular, but there was only a Zacian to worry about. Like, you could build your team to beat Zacian. Like, that's not that hard. Trying to build your team to beat Zacian and whatever other restricted, Calyrex Shadow, Kyogre, Calyrex Ice, blah, 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 Reshiram, nonsense like that, that's a whole different beast. And that's much harder to actually do. And that kind of just takes the strategy out of Pokemon and is like, oh, they have the answer to Zacian, but they don't have the answer to Palkia. I'll just bring Palkia plus the other 3. Like, what's the point?
My big thing And I'm pulling up a calculator here for a second so I can actually do some base stat math. So, at its grand total, Zacian Zamazenta Crown have a base stat total of 720.
Yeah.
That is by far the highest of any Pokemon in the game. But what that doesn't include is that extra plus one it gets on its stat. So now you're adding in another 95 to its attack stat. So suddenly you have a base stat total of 815.
Which is insane, right?
Absolutely insane when your next highest legal is like, what, 680 for Regigigas?
The next highest is, I think, Kyurem White and Kyurem Black.
That actually is probably correct.
Because I think they're also in that upper range.
Zacian Zygarde Complete is 700.
Yep, I remember that one. Like that one you have to get to.
Kyurem White and Black are both 700 as well. And then from there, the next highest is like all your legendaries are 680.
Yeah. I think Gigas is actually 600.
Is it?
I think so. Because I don't think it's that high. Otherwise, if it was 680, they wouldn't put it in. They wouldn't make it like a Series 9 thing. Because that is nuts. Like, because I believe it's just base 100s all the way across.
It is 670.
670.
Very, very close.
But then it's like if you turn off slow start, and it's at 670. But if you don't have slow start, if you have slow start active, it's not that at all.
Yeah, if you have slow start, you get to 540, which on paper looks a little more manageable.
Yeah. Yeah, GS Cup I feel like it's just going to be a nightmare. Like, everyone's so excited for it. I'm just like, cool, you can be excited for it. It looks like a mess.
You can do your thing, I'll do mine.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I said, I could be completely incorrect in my evaluation of this format. I won't know until I actually play it, and I'm not going to play it until it's an official thing.
Yeah.
Is that going to give everyone else who's playing it a leg up on me? Yeah, probably. I don't care, though. End of the day, my ranking doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Anything else?
The
Pokemon
nothing
Unite
comes
beta.
to mind.
Pokemon Unite beta is going on.
The Japanese Unite beta is going on as we're recording this. I believe it ends Sunday night, if I remember correctly. So I've heard a lot of really good things about it. There's a ton of people on the server who have made Japanese accounts so they can go play it.
Yep, we've gotten to see a little bit of the gameplay, which is cool.
It looks good. People are really enjoying it. People are saying it feels unique as a MOBA, and that's awesome. I am genuinely excited for it when it comes out, and that'll be fairly soon.
Yep, it's supposed to come out sometime in July for Switch and then September on mobile. Snorlax main reporting in. I'm going to probably be a Snorlax main, and it's going to be great. I cannot wait to body slam people.
As of now, if I was to pick one, it's probably going to be Absol or Gengar.
I can see that. I have been told Slowbro is really, really good too.
I've heard really good things about Slowbro, and it is kind of absurd.
There'll be balances and tweaks probably before we get to release, so.
I've heard people are really highly underrating Wigglytuff right now, which I don't quite know what Wigglytuff does, but okay.
Yeah, I have no clue. I know it's probably a support, which the supports are always the broken champions early. It's real easy to build a damage-based champion or a bulk-based champion coming from the league perspective. Supports are always the hardest thing to balance. I know the running gag is this champion from League of Sona, the musician, has probably seen more balance changes than any other champion in the game.
Of course it has.
In the 10-year history of the game, Sona's been there all the time, and it's probably seen a change almost every other patch. Which, to give reference, they update patches like twice, 2 to 3 times a month, sometimes more. So it's just insane how much Sona's been changed as a support champion. So I feel like Pokemon the like Wigglytuff will get like balanced out eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I actually am curious if I can find. There's the Unite character database that one of the guys linked earlier. I'm showing it's a dead website and it literally is not listing anything. There we go. As of now, this is like a generic tier list that has been made already. S tier is Absol, Pikachu, Talonflame. I'm pretty sure I named 2 of those as ones I want to play.
That's great.
I'm gonna screenshot this so you can throw it up in post. But
okay.
You have Cinderace, Garchomp, Gengar, Lucario, and Venusaur in A. Your B tiers: Blastoise, Charizard, Cramorant, Crustle, Eldegoss, Gardevoir, Greninja, Ninetales, Slowbro. C tiers: Mime and Snorlax, and then the only D tier as of now, Machamp.
I color me surprised by that. Coming from like a league background, I played so much of it that I just kind of like it's easy to compare to. The bulky bruisers are usually some of the worst things to play and just feel terrible because you just get kited by everything else, or you don't do enough damage to beat up the walls, so it just feels miserable playing them.
Yeah, all the bulky mons are mostly in B. Snorlax is down in C. All the speedster mons are in A+.
Yeah, it's because they're currently just busted right now, probably. Which, again, it's easy to balance that stuff out.
Actually, also, looking at it, Gengar and Absol have the exact same like stats, basically. So it's basically just based on their abilities that the difference is. Yeah. Talonflame, the difference is its scoring is a little higher, its endurance and offense are lower, but its mobility is maxed out at 10.
Jeez. And like the weird thing is like when you see that kind of like graphics and whatnot, or like ranking compared to everything, but it's like these things are compared to everything else in the format, not like Talonflame doesn't have the best mobility. It's compared to other things at the moment, it has really good mobility. And I'm assuming as Pokemon get added into the game and things like that, we'll see changes and whatnot.
Is it weird to you that Gengar is a melee mon?
No. Ghost was a physical type in Gen 1.
Yeah, but this isn't Gen 1.
It's Tencent making the game. They don't follow. It's just like Pokemon Unite needs to be treated like Pokemon Go. It's the Pokemon IP, but it's not being made by Nintendo. They follow their own set of rules.
There are items in this game too.
Are there? Really? That's cool. Like, are they like? How do you get them? Or is it like a purchasing thing?
They're held items according to this. There's held items and battle items. Held items here. There's a Salt Vest, which gives you 270 HP and 42 special defense.
Deal. Gimme.
Leftovers gives you 240 HP and 9 HP recovery.
Ooh, I like that one too. If you can't tell, I like the bulky items. The
Rocky games that helmet.
Do it. It's Thornmail. Do it.
240 HP, 42 defense. After absorbing enough damage, deals a % damage to nearby opponents.
That's sweet. That is awesome. So you can just take a bunch of damage and then like get in between like everything on the like all the Pokemon on the team and just deal AoE damage. That's great.
I'm curious how many items you can hold. Like if you can hold multiple of the same.
It's probably just one held item, but then you can use multiple battle items.
Float Stone is like your boots in most games. Except it also gives you an attack boost.
That's kind of cool. That tells me that it's probably one item per Pokemon.
Is it weird to you that EXP Share gives you more speed than the Float Stone?
No, that actually kind of makes sense because the EXP share is an item that you probably want to put on your mobility Pokemon to make them
Actually,
faster.
reading this, the EXP share gives you bonus experience from the entire team if you're the lowest level Pokemon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's really cool.
That makes sense, though. It's just like, it works like EXP share does in-game, and the Pokemon that want to carry it are usually your mobility Pokemon that are a little bit more frail and can't do the whole jungle creep thing very well.
There's also Buddy Shield, or Buddy Barrier, I'm sorry. It gives you
Buddy
600
Barrier.
HP and grants a shield to the user and nearby allies when the lowest HP, with the lowest HP when the user uses their Unite move.
That's kind of cool.
So you ult and you get an extra shield, and your ally also does. That's kind of sick.
There's a couple of items in League that they, like, mid-season they introduced into that stuff, and it's kind of cool like that. Where it's like, you use your ultimate and this happens.
So there's special attack specs, which is not choice specs. Those are different items. Except choice specs is not in this.
Choice specs implies you only get to use one thing. You make a choice. True. Special attack specs means you get a special attack boost, I'm assuming.
And you also increase your special attack damage upon scoring a goal.
Ah, that's their, instead of having a Nexus, that's their score system, is scoring goals.
So there's special attack glasses and wise glasses.
I'm assuming they do slightly different things.
Wise glasses is just base, it looks like, whereas special attack, the special attack specs can increase the more you score. Is the way it's worded, that's the way it makes me think.
Okay, so they still have the item build system. It's like you could start out with something and then like you could upgrade it. That's kind of cool.
I don't know if it's upgrade, but it's definitely
like you can go and purchase an upgraded version. Like you have something you can start out early with, early game. You can buy this if you can't afford special attack specs. You can afford wise glasses.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of how I haven't played a lot of League, but I have played my fair share of Smite. And there, you get like levels on your items on certain ones where after so many things are accomplished on it, the item itself changes. So like you have to pick up like 50 kills, but champion kills count as 5 is like a common one.
League has items like that too, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's what that reminds me of, is after so many kills, it levels itself up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out when the game actually comes out.
I'm excited.
And everyone who's played the demo is going to tell us that we're completely wrong in how these work, so that's fine.
That's fine too. I'm excited to play the game. I'm not going to have time to do the Japanese account thing because I'm not going to be able to play it all this weekend, but I'm excited to get my hands on it when it comes out.
Yeah, it looks cool. Unfortunately, they don't have Wigglytuff on this website.
Dang.
People are underrating it so much, it's not even listed.
Yep. That's wise, because no one knows what it does.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm interested. Oh, it actually has like a database of all the attacks and everything they do too. This is actually really cool. I'm gonna have to read up on this.
So like, gotta do your research, Carter.
Each of your Pokemon also have like a passive ability. So Absol has Super Luck, so it has an increased crit rate.
Makes sense.
This is probably what I'm gonna main for a minute. I like doing absurd amounts of damage in quick bursts.
Yes, you do.
I like being very squishy.
Oh. Is that it? Are we done?
I don't know, man. I've just been kind of rambling here.
I think we're done. Let's get us out of here.
Alright, man. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. If you're not, go ahead and click that link down in the show notes and follow us over there. We have all kinds of stuff going up every day of the week, between laddering videos, doing myself. Carl does deep dives of different Pokemon each week, so you can actually understand and know how to play with and against different Pokemon in the format. So check those out. They're fantastic videos. Cannot recommend them enough. Past that, you can always follow us on Twitter. The podcast at LR Lessons, myself at Cardinal. No, I am at Mr. Missouri 25. It's been a hot minute since I've messed that up.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you gotta remember, I did that for like 3 years where well, it was like 2 years where I always referred to the old one and not my new tag.
Yeah.
Username. What are they called?
Whatever.
I don't know. Whatever.
Whatever.
And then Carl's also on Twitter at musicalvgc. You can find us on Twitch at Mr. Missouri 25 and at musical. And come check out the Discord servers. That's where you get to sign up for Draft League when those go live, and you can play in all of our events we have going on. So it's fantastic. Cannot recommend our Discord enough. And I think that is everything I have to say.
Oh, you can check out the website at lrlessons.com.
lrlessons.com. I gotta work that into my plug, man.
Yeah,
I'm not used to it.
That's the first time I got to do that, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, gotta make sure to go check that out if you haven't yet.
So
the merch page meme it's great.
It is great. There's all kinds of things on the website right now, and it's fantastic. So that is it for this week, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out, and we will see you next week with some more podcasts. So have a good one. Peace.